Maryam Monsef is Canada's Minister for Women and Gender Equality. She joins me from the foyer of the House of Commons this evening. Minister Monsef, good to see you. Thanks for taking time to be with me.
Thanks, Peter.
We heard from Jody, Wilson-Raybould and Jane Philpott today who are expressing no regrets for their actions and maintain they stood up for their principles and that got them kicked out of caucus. How do you respond to that?
Well, it's unfortunate that the Prime Minister had to take the decision that he did. It was clear that both of our former colleagues had lost confidence in the team. And as a result, the team had lost trust and confidence in them. And the Prime Minister made the difficult but necessary decision that he did to ensure that we continue to work to advance the priorities that Canadians sent us here to. And we do that with a strong team that is united, and that's what's happening.
This all boils down, the next thing to watch, and I guess, is whether or not SNC-Lavalin gets a deferred prosecution agreement. Jody Wilson-Raybould fought that and is still fighting it. Do you believe the company should get a deferred prosecution agreement? Because no one in your government will deny today that it's still on the table with the new Attorney General, Mr. Lametti.
Well, the decision to make is the Attorney General's decision to make, and his alone, and I have confidence that he will make the right decision. I would say the next thing to watch, though, Peter, is what's coming out in the reports around what's happening to our planet and climate change. Well, the next thing to watch is to ensure that we continue to lift Canadians out of poverty, because there's no reason why in this country kids should be going to bed hungry at night. There are a lot of really big issues that are affecting Canadians day to day, and those are the things we're watching for.
I know that's the agenda that you want to get back to, and I understand that. And for the moment, this still preoccupies a lot of the news in this country. And the Prime Minister today was facing criticism of his feminist credentials because of all of this. You're the minister responsible for gender equality in women. How does kicking these two prominent women out of your caucus support the claim that this is a feminist Prime Minister?
So two former colleagues are no longer part of the Liberal team, but the Liberal team is united and strong and will continue to advance gender equality because we have a leader who sees gender equality as a driver for economic growth, who has proudly proclaimed himself to be a feminist and is leading domestically and internationally. We've changed the conversation about feminism in Canada. We have listened to what feminists have been saying for decades, that advancing gender equality is the right thing to do and it's the smart thing to do. So we've put forward proactive pay equity legislation. We have invested in a women entrepreneurship strategy to double the number of entrepreneurs in the next 5 years. We're investing in housing specifically for women so that they don't have to stay in abusive relationships just to have a safe roof over their kids' heads and their own. And that is our record, and our record speaks for itself.
Okay, how do you answer the suggestion that this does look to some people like two strong women now being told that loyalty to the Prime Minister is more important than standing up for what they believe is right? What's your response to that?
So both of my colleagues are strong, talented, accomplished women, and I have the opportunity to be part of a team that is filled with strong, talented, accomplished women. The work that we're doing to advance gender equality, the work that we're doing to grow the middle class, the 900,000 jobs that have been created, the 825,000 people who've been lifted out of poverty, these are bigger than any one individual, and we've only been able to achieve them because we are a team. And for Canadians who want us to continue to advance gender equality, rest assured that we will. There is, not just amongst us women ministers, but all of us in caucus, and every cabinet minister has received a direct mandate from the Prime Minister to advance gender equality. And we will.
If I can, let's move the Daughters of the Vote event on Parliament Hill that you're involved with. It's sponsored by Equal Voice, but you have a role as the minister, of course, to play in that event. Some of those young women today were unhappy to the Prime Minister to the point where during his speech they turned their back on him, some of them. And in fairness, some of them walked out on Andrew Scheer when he made his remarks. We're sort of, the idea is to expose them to what life is like in politics and to bring them to Parliament Hill. What did you think of that action on their part?
Well, to be clear, the Daughters of the Vote is sponsored by the Government of Canada and many other sponsors in partnership with Equal Voice, who have done a tremendous job. This is the second time the Daughters are coming to the Hill, and they will be coming back once more because our government's funded them for another cohort too. It's important for these halls of power and influence to shake from the voices and the perspectives that these young women bring. They come from all walks of life. They come from all backgrounds with all sorts of perspectives. While I don't support walking out, whether it's on walking out on Andrew Scheer or turning your back in the House of Commons, that's a choice that they made. I think it's really important, though, to stay in those seats. And even when you disagree, to be open to being the ears and the voice for those who have sent you here. And we saw in the question period they had with the Prime Minister, even on the issues that they disagreed, they were able to articulate their perspectives respectfully. And that we need more of in politics. And I'm thrilled that they were able to join us. It takes a lot of courage to put yourself out there and to show up to a place like Parliament Hill, but they owned it. And it's a reminder of how much stronger we can be when we create those spaces for those voices.
And a number of them, after the meeting with the Prime Minister, did say to reporters out in the hallway, when asked about Jody, Wilson-Raybould and Jane Philpott, they did question his feminist credentials and saying that's not, that shouldn't have happened. They were concerned about these two women being kicked out of the caucus. What would you say to those young women looking at this situation and trying to explain to them that this is not about, this is not a decision that should in any way work against the Prime Minister's feminist credentials? How do you explain that to them?
Well, this issue is not about gender. It is not about identity. It's about governance, the role of AG and Justice Minister. But for us, it's about a team. And I spoke with the Daughters when they first came to the Hill on Monday. You know, these places are difficult places because they were not designed to accommodate for all voices. But we have a Prime Minister who's created spaces for those voices. And there's a way to disagree without being disagreeable. And the challenge that we've had with our former colleagues, it ultimately comes down to a team. Politics, like many things in life, is a team sport, and we can only move ahead when we have the strongest, most united team possible.
Okay.
And we have that.
All right. Thank you for your time tonight. I do appreciate it. Good to talk to you.
Likewise, Peter.